From the outside, the Minecraft server looked like it was thriving. Players were building massive houses, trading diamonds non-stop, and upgrading their gear faster than ever before. Every day, new bases popped up across the map, larger and more expensive than the last. It felt like everyone was getting rich. But underneath the surface, the server's economy was quietly breaking. At the center of it all were a group of powerful players known as the bankers. They controlled most of the diamonds on the server and decided who could borrow resources and who couldn't. At first, they only lent diamonds to experienced players with strong bases and good reputations. But over time, they realized something important. If more players borrowed diamonds, the bankers could make more profit. So the rules began to loosen. New players with no armor, no tools, and barely any experience were suddenly allowed to borrow large amounts of diamonds. They were told not to worry. If they couldn't pay the diamonds back, they could always sell their house or trade items later. More and more players started building homes they couldn't actually afford. Entire towns were filled with borrowed blocks. The bankers didn't seem concerned. Instead of keeping these risky loans, they bundled them together, put them in chests, and sold them to other rich players across the server, claiming they were safe and valuable. Those players trusted the labels on the chests. After all, the bankers were respected, experienced, and had never failed before. Admins were around, but they didn't interfere much. The server looked active, players were happy, and diamonds were flowing. Everything seemed fine, until players started missing payments. A few homes were abandoned, then more. Soon, entire neighborhoods sat empty. The blocks that were once worth stacks of diamonds were suddenly worth almost nothing. Players rushed to the bankers, trying to trade their items back for diamonds, only to find the chests were empty. The chests weren't filled with diamonds, they were filled with debt that could no longer be repaid. The problem was bigger than anyone realized. The diamonds everyone thought existed didn't. They were promises stacked on top of promises, loans built on other loans. When players stopped paying, the entire system collapsed. Banks froze trades, shops shut down. Some of the biggest bases on the server vanished overnight. Players lost homes they had spent years building. Others logged off and never came back. The chat filled with confusion, anger, and fear. People demanded answers. How could a server this big fall apart so fast? The admins finally stepped in. Instead of banning the bankers or deleting their bases, the admins used the server's emergency powers. They spawned massive amounts of diamonds into the bankers' chests to keep them from collapsing completely. Many players were furious. Regular players were forced to rebuild from nothing, while the bankers, who caused the crash, survived with admin support. Some were even rewarded with more power than before. Slowly, the server stabilized. New rules were promised, trading limits were adjusted, lending became stricter, but the damage was already done.